Let's begin the Edwards Forest Prairie Adventure, starring Shake and Bake. The first step in this process, I believe, would be to take an area along the steepest part of your hill and replace it, about this area right here, and replace it with a large mass planting of daylilies, which I could provide for free, that would grow into a nice thick area in there, providing color and also soil retention, causing you not having to mow that very steep area. The next thing I would do would be to take care of this shaded area along the side of your yard, next to your neighbor's yard and tree line. Now, that's a more heavily shaded area, so you could actually take care of that area with a mass planted area of hostas. Now, hostas are really good shade growing plants. You have some of those up against your house where it's not so good a shade area, but hostas are really easy to divide. People typically divide up hostas all the time and get rid of them because they get too full in an area that they were, not expecting to get that large in. My neighbor just dug up about 20 and gave them to me. So that's pretty typical, people trying to get rid of hostas. So those can also be found at either a really good price or a free price even. Now we're getting into an area that's a little less steep, but still pretty steep. You don't really want to have to mow this area. We could take care of this area in a couple ways, but I would recommend maybe doing this part more in stages. Here's a couple ideas. I think the best option might be to continue cutting out the sod area, because you're not going to want to mow this. It's just going to be a nightmare for you as the years move on. So possibly plant some of those dogwoods that you'd talked about. The dogwoods would be a good kind of covered plant, and because you have the woods across the way, they should get somewhat covered on this hill. But they'd be nice for some plants to grow around them. So maybe some dogwoods in this area, maybe another one here, possibly one closer up towards your wall into this area. And then another good plant that's good for massing and also to kind of offset the kind of thick foliage you got going here is called Russian sage. You could go with that right there, kind of wrapping around and kind of enclosing this area down the side of your hill there. And then in through these dogwood areas, what might be good to put. Have an area that's more wide open with mulch, some irises. Even instead of the dogwoods, you could go river birches to give a little more size there, even pine trees to take up some more room there. Maybe some spruces that are a little thicker, full-bodied plants. And then through there you could also have a little more rock, just some area that's a little more wide open, maybe looking a little more, foresty or woodland or whatever you'd like. And as you're taking out all this sod and grass, as I told you earlier, my advice would be to create kind of a privacy berm along the path. So your pathway is running right about here, I'd say, down towards the bottom. And then you could create your sod berm. Just keep layering it up here as you take it up. And then dig your holes and put in some arborvitaes to provide some privacy. Keep your grass area that's a little more flat down in this area behind the arborvitaes. You could still mow that. You could have a little more privacy. Even maybe put a little dugout, retaining wall, seating area, somewhere in this area, so you could sit and watch kids play down, and kind of still be around, just almost another tier down from your deck, if you want to look at it that way. I think the big thing is you realize there is no such thing as maintenance free. You're going to have to do some work on this. I think the plants that I've talked about in this are probably as easy as it gets as far as taking care of plants. Daylilies, anyone can take care of them. They're super easy. Same with hostas. Daylilies practically grow like grass. I mean, they're just super simple. The irises are super simple. You could throw them out in your yard like you tried to do with your seed, and they would just grow just by throwing them out in your yard. The key thing would be being able to just basically wait a year till these plants kind of filled in. These plants do fill in pretty quick. You may need to put down some, just some type of fabric maybe to prevent an erosion in your first year, or you do this in stages. Maybe you tackle the daylilies first, or maybe you tackle the hostas first, or maybe you just plant some trees on your hillside there to get some roots established. It's really, up to you, but, if you have something else in mind, there's all kinds of pictures out there. If you could type in woodland gardens or woodland hillsides and get all kinds of inspiration. Obviously, I think it'd be pretty cool to create kind of a privacy area with these arborvitaes, and then even create a separate kind of area for your family down there as well. Unless you thought it's too close to your runners down here running by and saying hello and bothering you. Another thing long term, if this is something that kind of was something you'd want to use to access down here, would be to create kind of a step area. You could do that at a flagstone at a lot more cost effective price than trying to do something with a retaining wall block. But just throw out some ideas. Maybe this will kind of spark some interest. I did look up some stuff with retaining walls, and that area up here that you're talking about, putting a wall up in this area, it sounds like you're going to need to pick something that's a little slower growing. You talked about red buds, seeing those at Lowe's. Those might be a good tree to go with up there in that corner. So anyway, that's it. I hope this provides some thought on my thoughts and maybe what you're thinking. Obviously, this is a rough sketch of of something, but you can determine how you think this would work, or if it would work, or if you want to do this in stages, or if you have totally different ideas with everything, or if this is just too massive of an overhaul and you just want to keep mowing this thing. Just let me know. This short video was brought to you by Neighbor Boy Lawn and Stone. It is copyrighted and LLC'd and bonded and not insured.